there's nothing more dangerous than wrestling CM Punk, except wrestling CM Punk in Chicago on pay-per-view. So in his first match back, where he has a lot to prove, this isn't, all elite entertainment. This is all elite wrestling. So like, we have the best wrestlers. This is AEW's QT Marshall, the leader of the number one faction, The Factory, and you can catch me on Sportskeeda.
Are you a fan of Paul Wight? And were you a fan, growing up and watching him in WCW and everything?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think growing up, anyone larger than life like Paul, it just, he's got that it factor, right? And it attracts the eye, especially as a young kid growing up and seeing how strong he was and what he could do at his size. But that all ended, when he stuck his nose in my business. So, and it all leads to Sunday. So.
Is there a sense of pressure in being his big comeback opponent because so many eyes will be on the match?
I mean, there is, but I think there's a lot of big pressure just being in AEW to begin with. So, I've been here since the start of AEW behind the scenes, and now I've transitioned to, in front of the camera as a wrestler, which has always been my dream. So I thrive under the pressure. I mean, I always tell everyone that, at my school, I'm a red light kind of guy. I don't like to practice certain things before the show. I just, when the light comes on, that's when I like to go.
Fantastic, man. There is a very vocal contingent of fans who don't like the idea of you being on the pay-per-view, and you have been very vocal with them on Twitter as well. I mean, what is your opinion on this whole thing?
I mean, fans are entitled to their opinion. If you had Paul Wight and you're paying him whatever money you're paying him, would you put his first match on Dark? Would you put it on Elevation? I don't know. I think he's the type of competitor that you would put it on pay-per-view. This is his first match back, along with CM Punk. Like, this is a huge pay-per-view. And I'm not going to tout, myself. I know what my role is here, and he needs a dance partner. And, I'm happy to be that guy. And if the fans are upset about that, how much more upset are they going to be when I beat them? You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Fantastic. So, I'm calling you from India. As you are probably aware, there's a big deal that has happened between All Elite Wrestling and Eurosport in India. And now more than 1 billion people can watch, AEW in India. So do you have a message for fans in India?
Man, I'm so excited. This was something that I had spoken to everyone about when we first, about a year ago, because I do have a couple of, Indian friend talent, wrestling talents that we've even used 2 of them on Dark before. And then, of course, we had Jorah come in and, he's part of Matt Hardy's Hardy family office now. So I just think that, obviously that's a huge market for us. As wrestler, for a wrestling company. Also, I know the fans over there, just like the fans here, they need an alternative as well. So I think it's great, and I can't wait to hopefully go over there. I was supposed to, a little fun fact is I was supposed to actually go over and help Khali before AEW started training his guys. That was a deal that I had set up through one of the other guys that helps him out. And, when it just didn't work out at the time. But yeah, I was excited for it. I'm excited for it now. I think from what I've learned from some of the Indian talent that I've spoken to, the Eurosport, it's a huge deal. It's not like, ECW on Madison Square Garden Network at 2 a.m. This is a huge deal for Indian fans and for AEW. So I think it's excellent. It's something that I know we've been looking to do. And now that it's done, I mean, the fans over there, they can really expect to see, some of the greatest wrestling in the world.
That's crazy you mentioned that, because I just interviewed Ricardo Rodriguez, who did help the great Khali, I think, set up his federation in India. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that I had spoken to, along with there was a referee in the WWE Justin, his name was Justin King. He was someone that had helped, kind of broker this deal. And like I said, it just didn't work out after, we had spent a lot of time on it just with schedules and this, that, and the other. And, having to move to India for a month when I had the school going, it just was a little too rough. So.
Fantastic, man. Like coming back to the pay-per-view, you are part of one of the biggest comeback matches at the pay-per-view. But speaking of comeback matches, I mean, we have to address the elephant in the room with CM Punk. What do you think of CM Punk versus Darby Allin as an attraction?
So I love it. I mean, of course, you see someone like CM Punk, immediately you're going to think, oh, he's going to go get the world title right away. And he's not. He's going after one of our homegrown stars. And when I say stars, I mean Darby is a star. There's people that come to our shows dressed up as him. That's how you know you're doing something right. And it's not just kids, it's adults as well. So, yeah, I'm super pumped for that. I'm curious to see what CM Punk can do. I saw him on heels the other day. He looked like he still can go. So, I'm excited for it. And I know Darby, he's not here to just, come to All Out to lose. I mean, he's going to put everything in his power to make sure that he walks out the winner that night. It's crazy times, man. It really is. It's a huge week. There's so much stuff going on. And like I said, with CM Punk in Chicago, like you said, there's nothing more dangerous than wrestling CM Punk, except wrestling CM Punk in Chicago on paper. So in his first match back, where he has a lot to prove, this isn't, all elite entertainment. This is all elite wrestling. So like, we have the best wrestlers. I don't care what anyone says. When it comes down to wrestling, we have the absolute best.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, you did an impression which set the internet on fire recently. What inspired that?
Oh, the Vince McMahon impression, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I've been through so many of those tryouts, so many of those extra gigs where it's like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? You know what I mean? Just all these things. And it's like, wait, you're not even giving me a chance to wrestle yet before you're asking me these questions, And then I remember at one of the tryouts I went to, they literally told us, like, we can teach anyone how to wrestle. What an arrogant mindset at the time. And I do understand what they're talking about, because I have actual, like, professional athletes that come to me and want to train. And, of course, it is easier to train them if they're wrestling fans, because they're athletic already. You don't have to teach them to go to the gym and do all these other things. But at the same time, like, when you got 50 people in there that are all trying to become professional wrestlers, and you basically tell them that the wrestling part doesn't matter, it's that stuck with me. That was in 2009. So that was, 12 years ago. And the fact that I still remember it to this day, it obviously left an impression on me. And when they did all those cuts recently, which is terrible, we're very, honestly, hopefully it's some good stuff for us, right? But, with all of those cuts that they did, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to go back to, I read the same reports everyone else does. We're going to go back to the other system. I just thought it was a good bit on, we'd like to rib on the square on Sammy's vlog. And, I didn't mean any disrespect by it, but at the same time, we thought it was hilarious. And Duke, the delivery guy, he's a great talent out of Pittsburgh, and he was all for it. So it made for a good bit. I didn't realize it was going to get as much traction as it did, It's just, what are the odds that the word hired rhymes with fired? So it was just an easy one. It was you're hired, it was great. I loved it. So.
And the heavy breathing after that. I mean, that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to have that breathing, It really sets it apart, like that.